Well, you know, I've always been real straight with my constituents. I don't spin. I don't know how to spin. I wouldn't remember how I spun the next day anyway.
Wow. Thank you. I'll just take the time. These are facts. You can look these up. Our campaign will provide those for you. But I think it's very important that anytime you're going about a campaign, you tell the truth. So I've got a list here. Let me just start off with the first one here. Joanne Emerson supported a bill to bail out union pensions. False. The bill Joanne voted for involved corporate contributed pension funds. The union money there was no union money. It was supported by the largest employer in the 8th District, Procter & Gamble. They employ no union labor. And here's the biggest part of that was that no taxpayer money, not one dime, was going to go for that.
Well, in Washington, legislation is moving through Congress right now that would take billions of your hard-earned money and give it to companies so they can fund pension plans for their labor unions. Critics call it another taxpayer giveaway to big labor. Jerry Willis is here with the details. All right, Jerry, so how much money are we talking about here?
$165 billion. $165 billion of American taxpayer money that could go to bail out these labor union pensions. They're in big trouble. Only 6% of them are funded the way they should be. So Senator Bob Casey in the Senate introduced legislation. There'll be a hearing Thursday that would backstop these pensions. And it's not just the Senate. For a long time now, there's actually been a bill moving through the House that would do the same thing. Now, let me tell you who gets bailed out here.
Yeah.
It's the SEIU. That's the government union.
That's the group we just saw on that man's lawn.
That's right. And AFL-CIO, Teamsters, and in the House bill, it's Major League Baseball. It's football players. These are pensions that are in horrible shape that need help, and now
they're in bad shape because they invested poorly because of the stock market fall that a lot of people's pensions took a hit on.
Well, exactly. We've seen it a lot. It happens often. Unfortunately, we have a lot of experience with it. But what typically happens when they get a bailout is you have to dial back what you get from your pension, right? You don't get as much money. The benefits aren't as good. Guess what? This would be an end run around that.
So you're telling me that people across this country who had no affiliation with labor unions for their whole lives, who have 401k plans and took a hit, when we saw this stock market crash, that they now with their taxpayer dollars are going to have to bail out the pensions of the union members?
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. So even as you're trying to save for your 401k, you're worried you're not going to have enough money in retirement, you're going to have to help pay the bill for these union members.
Who is behind this legislation?
Well, let me tell you, we've got 9 Republicans, surprisingly, who are part of this. Aaron Schock, Peter Roskam, and Thad McCotter, who are, co-sponsors of this bill. Take a look at this crew.
Look at all of them.
These are the folks who would like to have you help bail out the unions.
Well, are these folks who are in union-heavy states? Is that the explanation
Some of them
behind
are,
this?
but I'm going to tell you, these are Republicans. There are public interest groups.
They claim they're against bailouts.
That's right. But there are public interest groups calling these people out saying, why are you doing this? This is ridiculous. American taxpayers don't want to pay for this.
Is this expected to pass?
There are 2 bills, one in the House, one in the Senate. I can't imagine this passes, but you've seen some of the legislation we've seen already. Yeah. I think anything could happen.
Wow.
One thing that was mentioned was that union pension bailout. You can get on YouTube and pull up a video of Fox News talking about that union pension bailout. And they called it at the time a backstop. But it's really a bailout. It puts your signature as a guarantee on those private union pensions, and it included other companies too. It wasn't just unions. But they wanted to put your signature so you would stand good for if there was ever a loss in those union pension funds and other pension funds. Because there's going to be tremendous losses in the union pension funds with the way these union pensions are set up. They're so short already, there's going to be massive losses, and that's what they were trying to do, is to get you to be the one to hold the bag on that situation. You can pull that video up. It's a great video. And Joanne Emerson's picture, when you pull that up, it's right in the middle. She was one of just a handful of Republicans that supported it. And I pointed out the last election that she's married to a union. He was a union lobbyist. He quit shortly after I exposed it in 2009. He stopped being a union lobbyist. But I found that one day looking through the Missouri lobbyist list. He represented 12 unions here in Missouri. And that's documented. but he still works for the unions. He's an attorney. So I think it's, I don't know that it's illegal, but I think you ought to know as a voter that you're supporting a representative that is supporting these kind of bailouts to go to the unions that directly benefit her husband and his position. So, I'll leave it up to you to decide. Kind of like Fox News. We report, you decide. If you want that to continue, keep voting that way. But I think it's important, and I think you should know it.
Well, I've always been real straight with my constituents. I don't spin. I don't know how to spin. I wouldn't remember how I spun the next day anyway.